Good afternoon and welcome to the January webinar. Today we're going to be talking about creating a multi-channel mobile experience. My name is Todd Lucky and I'm a Senior User Experience Specialist here at Usability Sciences. I've been doing usability research now for a little over 5 years, and I've conducted a large number of projects, a variety of methodologies all across the world. Just a few logistical items today. First of all, the presentation is going to take about 30 minutes. We have a lot of information to get through, so I may go pretty fast at times. But don't worry, the information will be available by video as well as in PDF format towards the end of this week. At the end of the session, we will allow for some time. In case you have any questions, you can submit those using the Q&A or question feature or the chat feature in WebEx. So if you have any questions, hold them to the end and then we will get them. So without further ado, here we go. So we're going to begin by talking a little bit about some trends in the mobile space. This first chart, if you've seen anything on mobile or attended any conferences or webinars, you've probably seen this chart or something similar. And what it shows is that the smartphone is predicted to surpass the feature phone as the most popular mobile device in this year, probably towards the end of the year. Now, why is this important? Well, if you look at some numbers, people who use their phone for voice only drops from 14% to 3% as you move from feature phone to smartphone. Wi-Fi usage increases from 5% with the feature phone to 50% with the smartphone. 78% of smartphone users use their mobile browser, and 80% of them are using apps, versus the feature phone where only 19% access the browser and 17% access apps. Overall, the smartphone delivers a more optimized shopping solution as well. On the next slide, we see a ranking of some of the top categories that people are using their mobile device for. And depending on who you get your information from or where you get it, the ranking might change slightly, but what you'll see consistently is that online shopping is generally appearing towards the bottom of the list. Things like games, instant messaging, taking photos, talking, those types of things are always appearing towards the top of the list, but consistently online shopping is at the bottom. In a recent survey done by AT&T, they reported that only 15% of their customers had actually reported purchasing using their mobile phone. On this next slide, we see a chart and some information from Gartner. They did some research on what percentage of revenue is coming from mobile, e-commerce, and the brick-and-mortar store. And as you can see in 2009 rather, only 0.1% of total revenue came from mobile. Now this was a global survey, not just the US. Another interesting number to look at is the web percentage, which was only 8%. Now I'm pretty sure that most of you out there would not be caught without an e-commerce strategy or some sort of e-commerce present, yet it's only driving 8% of revenue. Now by 2015, they're predicting that mobile will make up 2% of total revenue, but that's still pretty far off from brick and mortar and even e-commerce, which they're expecting to jump up to 14%. If we take a historical look at e-commerce, we see that back in 2001, e-commerce sales accounted for right around 1% of total revenue. And that 1% translates to about $5.26 billion. Now if we fast forward to 2010, we see that it's up around 4% of all retail sales, which is about a 400% increase, and that translates into about $41.5 billion. What we can take from this chart and this information is that, similar to mobile, e-commerce in the beginning took a little while to truly develop and take off to get to where it is today. Interesting note, back in 2003 was the first year that Amazon actually posted a profitable quarter. So right around the early 2000s, late 90s was when this stuff really started to take off, and you didn't really see any significant revenue generated until around 2001 and maybe even later for some companies. Now we do know that while people may not actually be transacting with their mobile device, they are using their mobile device while they're out shopping. So the information here was conducted by Yahoo, and they found that 9 out of 10 people access their mobile device. Some other data that I saw showed that 82% of people were using their mobile device while shopping. So what were these people doing? Well, some of them were simply making phone calls or text messaging with their friends or family members, but 50% of people were using information or accessing information related to the shopping that they were actually doing. Things like checking price to see if they could find it for cheaper elsewhere, looking at reviews on a product they were interested in purchasing, or also looking at some more detailed product information. And we'll talk about how you can incorporate that into your mobile strategy a little bit later. So today we really want to focus on what you can do in the mobile space to really enhance that shopping experience or indirectly drive conversion either through your e-commerce site or through your brick and mortar store, but not necessarily direct conversion on the mobile device. And we'll start by taking a look at QR codes. So some of you may not be familiar with the QR codes, but they're really starting to sprout up everywhere. QR stands for Quick Response, and it was developed back in 1994. It's a two-dimensional code that's used to encode data into a very small image like you see on the screen. It's very big in Asia, it's catching on in popularity in Europe, and it's starting to crop up more and more here in the US. Some describe it as a paper-based prototype. And it's becoming so popular that there's also some discussion that the apps that are used to scan these QR codes may start appearing as a default app on smartphones, if that tells you anything about how popular they are. So how are people using them? Well, in different places they're using them for product information. You can see in the McDonald's example at the top, they have QR codes over in Asia on the hamburger packaging. You can scan it and then pull up nutritional information. It's used in coupons, and we'll show some examples of that in a little bit, where you can actually pull up a QR code on the interface of your phone, use it at the store, and have it scan as a coupon for a discount on products you're purchasing. It's used as a boarding pass now. I've used this several times with American Airlines and other carriers, where you log in using your mobile phone. You don't have to go to the ticket line. You don't have to print out a boarding pass. You simply pull it up on your phone, go through the security line, scan it, and you're on. It's used to encode documents. You can encode a two-page document into a very small two-dimensional code. You can use it to access videos, movie trailers, or video game trailers. It's being used as a geo-based tour. So in the forest example there you see the QR code. Imagine you're walking along a trail and you see a QR code. You use your phone to take a picture of it, and then it launches you into a guided tour that will tell you and talk to you about some of the things that you're seeing and direct you along the path. As I mentioned, it's used for nutritional information, and some people are using it on an advertisement for music. So you see a banner for the new Black Eyed Peas album. You scan the QR code, and it's going to launch their most recent single, so you can get a preview of that and decide whether or not you really like it and want to go purchase the album. In another example, Dick's Sporting Goods recently displayed a giant QR code on the Jumbotron at sporting events and instructed people in the stands to take a picture of the QR code with their fan, and then it gave them a coupon that they could use. So it's really being used in a number of different ways, and there are really some creative things that people are doing. Next, I'll walk you through some examples I've come across. Here was a QR code, stripped across the subway steps in New York. You could scan it and launch a movie trailer. I think this was District 9 back when it was coming out. Not the best placement. It was rather difficult to snap a picture walking out of the subway with a bunch of people behind you, but still interesting the way that they're using it. Another example is here with the Sudafed ad. This was in the Los Angeles airport near the baggage claim, and you could scan the QR code down in the lower right to receive instant sinus travel tips or get additional information. Another example in the Best Buy print ad, they had a QR code down in the print ad for the Super Mario Galaxy 2 where you could watch a trailer of the new video game. Now Best Buy is really doing a lot with QR codes to enhance their in-store experience. So as you walk around the store, all the products that they have available have the product information, the price, and then in the lower right-hand corner there's a QR code. Now Best Buy has also included a scanner in their mobile app. So you see in the upper right-hand corner you have the scan option. Once you launch that, it's going to display a scanner. You point your camera at the QR code. Once you do that, you're going to get a message that says you successfully scanned the item. You can view it, or you can continue and scan more to compare. Once you view the item, it's going to pull up information on that product that you're looking at. You can read customer reviews, you can view the specifications, or you can do some other things. Maybe you're not quite ready to purchase it, but you want to add it to your cart or your holiday list so that maybe you can think about purchasing it later on or continue to do more research later on. Another example of how this is being used is in magazine print ads. I've come across quite a few of these. This was in Triathlete magazine, and a company called all3sports.com took out a full-page ad, and down in the lower right-hand corner it has a QR code that says "Shoot me" for a limited special offer. Once you do that, it directs you to their page that gives you a discount or a coupon code that you can use during checkout. So they're driving traffic to their site, and they're also offering you a discount. I've also seen in Time magazine recently where they'll include a QR code in some of their articles so that you can scan it, and then it'll launch a video with additional information, and it makes a more interactive experience. So what are some of the best practices for QR codes? Well, first of all, this is still relatively new technology. While it was created in 1994, you haven't really started to see it here in the States until the past year or so. And even still, it's not really known by a lot of people in the mainstream. So providing clear instructions. Earlier in the Best Buy example, I gave you very clear instructions and even a URL of a site you could go to download an app. So helping give them information on what they need to actually scan the code, and then how they can scan it. Point your camera at it and take a picture, or it'll automatically pop up. The other thing is that the size matters. So the information that you are encoding is going to dictate how large the QR code is. For these micro QR codes that you typically see in print ads, they were expected to be only 6 to 15 characters or so. As you start to get bigger and bigger, then it's going to get larger and larger. So something to consider is if you are linking it to a mobile page, you want to use a shorter URL, so consider directing to a new domain rather than to a subdomain of an existing site. Because the smaller the code, the higher level of error correction, which means the less likelihood there is that it's going to scan and then not pull up the correct thing, or the easier it will be for it to scan. And of course, you want to direct to a mobile page. If you are offering these QR codes, people are going to be scanning them with their mobile device. So you'd want to direct them to a mobile optimized page that they can actually read. And finally, you want to provide them with valuable content. If it's not something valuable and not something they're going to be interested in, then they're likely not going to scan it. Moving on, we'll talk a bit about text messaging. And lately, a lot of people have been talking about how email is not really producing or having the effect that it once did. People are sending email to spam, they're not opening it, they're simply deleting it, and it's not really getting the marketing traction that it once did. Now people are trending more and more to text messaging. And in the chart you can see here that some data recently done by a few groups showed that text messaging actually had a 95% average open rate compared to only 22% for email. The number dropped significantly once you got to click-through rate, down to 20% for text messaging, but it was still significantly higher than the click-through rate for email. As you may know, 85% of adults with mobile phones send texts, and these texts aren't limited just to smartphones or feature phones. Text messaging is available on almost every mobile device. And it will also be interesting to know that only about 20% of mobile users actually have email on their device. It may be capable, but they may not have it hooked up. So a lot of people are suggesting that more and more as we move forward, text messaging is going to be the way to go. So how can you do that? Here's a couple examples of some print ads that are out there. You can see with the Payless ad and the Gold's Gym ad, you simply text a statement to a certain number, and then they're going to send you back a coupon code or a URL to access a coupon. Two companies that have done a really good job of this. The first one is Steve Madden. So Steve Madden has signs displayed all throughout their store. They offer up things like the chance to win gift certificates. They offer up discounts on specific products. They will allow you to access additional information on products. And they're also using it to determine new styles that people are interested in. So in one example, they had a sign up with 3 different products, and it said, text your favorite to the number below for a chance to win a gift certificate. And what they're doing there is they're not only collecting user information by getting the text number, but they're also collecting information on the type of products that their customers want to see and what they're expecting. So they can do a lot of different things with that. In the example here, you get the chance to win a gift certificate by texting in your phone number. So I walk you through that example. I texted Join Steve to the number, and then next, very quickly, I receive a text message back with a URL. Once I select that URL, it loads a mobile form that I can fill out. Once you fill that out and submit it, you're entered into the contest, and they have your information. A couple points here. Number one, the more information you're trying to collect from somebody, the more likelihood there is that they're going to abandon the process. So here, Steve Madden is asking for a pretty significant amount of information for a mobile device. First name, last name, zip code, country, your gender, your birthday, and what do you want to receive information about. Now the good thing about this is they can send very targeted, specific marketing material to that person if they go ahead and fill it out. So it's kind of a two-edged sword there, and you kind of want to be careful of what you're asking for. The nice thing is that they have their mobile number and they can send them text from here on out. Another company who's doing this is Target, and they do a really good job of this. So you can see on the left is their PC site, and on the right is their mobile app. Both of them, they ask for a phone number, and then they want to know when would you like to receive your monthly coupons. They give you very clear instructions on how many you can expect to receive, when you will expect to receive your first one, and then go from there. And they're only asking for your phone number and a time. So what happens after you submit this information? Well, a couple weeks later you'll begin to receive some text messages from them. And you can see in the example here, it tells you very clearly this is from Target. Here's your new coupon. Here's what you can expect to save in the products that we're offering it on. They then give a URL and a brief statement to let you know that message data rates may apply. Once you select the URL, it launches in your browser and it pulls up a barcode or a QR code, and then it gives you some additional information on the promotion that they have going on, as well as very clear instructions to the cashier and the customer on what you can expect to happen when you're ready to redeem your coupon. And then you simply take it to the register when you're ready to check out, and they'll scan it. Now we did a bit of research on this and went into the stores and used a bunch of these coupons, and it was a very easy process to go through. In talking to some of the cashiers, they mentioned that they're not seeing a lot of this used. The one cashier that I talked to said that she had only seen a couple of them during her time there, but they were becoming more popular was the overall census that we got from everybody. So more and more they are being used. So what are some best practices for text messaging? Well, first of all, you want to provide a clear message. And this can mean a lot of different things. You want to provide a clear message on how to use it, not only to the cashier but the customer as well. So in the Target example here, it tells them what they need to do, what to do. There's another example here from IHOP, and they're telling you which code to use when it expires. You also want to let them know who it's from. So here it lets you know this is from IHOP. And then the other example in the upper right is a little bit unclear. You get two messages very clear once I tried to join. It tells you who it's from, and then tells you to reply with a nickname to sign up. And then it sends another message that says, welcome. To create your group, reply create, and then a group name. So it's not really clear what you're supposed to do there. You also want to provide clear instructions on how to opt in and how to remove yourself from the list, what codes to enter. One thing to consider is that text messaging limits codes to around 140 characters per text. If you use a URL like Target, you're able to direct them to a mobile site or a mobile page that allows you to use a lot more letters and characters. You again want to provide valuable content. Again, if you don't, then people can discontinue using it and they won't want to return. And of course, an option to opt out. You don't want to constantly bombard your customers with text messages that they don't want to receive and therefore create a negative impression of your company with them. Next, we want to look at the store check-in feature. So again, Gartner did some research lately and asked, for a discount, what would you do? 19% strongly agreed that they'd check into a store, 12 said they'd share their location, and 11 said they would allow access to their social network profile. So while these numbers don't seem extremely high, they are still pretty high considering that this store check-in feature has really only been around in the past year. A lot of people are describing the store check-in feature as what really happened in the mobile space during 2010. And there have been a lot of companies that have cropped up during that time. You have Looped, Shopkick, Foursquare, Facebook just launched their check-in feature in their app recently, GoWalla, Scavenger, and there are others out there. Most of the companies right now are partnering with these other groups that have already established a presence so that they don't have to do the work and they can just reap the benefits of something that's already been established. Now there are some issues with this. Number one, with Foursquare, I could check into a location that's several hundred meters away from me. GPS currently is not that accurate, but they are talking about new GPS technology called ND-GPS, which will enable accuracy down to the centimeter. Now, a lot of people are arguing that there may not be a lot of benefit in the store check-in, and people simply announcing that I'm here at this location. Some people theorize that by others seeing that you're at a location, it may encourage your friends to come and join you, or it may make other people aware of something that they weren't aware of before. Now, as this grows and advances, what they're talking about is the ability to understand when a customer is in your store at that exact moment. Additionally, as this technology improves, being able to know exactly where they are in your store will be extremely valuable. Imagine a customer is standing in front of the pasta aisle, and you have a great deal going on some pasta, and you want to send them a text or a message that says 50% off or 50 cents off this pasta if you buy 2 of them. Or maybe you want to promote a sale you're having on red wine because you know it goes well with pasta, and you can do that based on where they are standing within the store. I think many would agree that that's an extremely valuable tool. Now, what does this look like? I'll show you a couple examples of these that we have here. Shopkick, when you log in, it's going to quickly pull up and locate all the stores nearby in your location. Some of the companies that are partnering with them are Macy's, Target, Best Buy, Crate & Barrel. And what you can see is that once you go and check in, it's going to offer you discounts at that store. In this example, Best Buy is offering $55 off their 8GB iPod Touch. So once you go in, you scan, you tap to use the offer, and then you receive a discount. Now the thing with this is that regardless of whether or not they're in your store, they're going to have to come in and buy anyway, so you may be encouraging them to come in and buy. The other one, Facebook, quickly became the most popular of all these store check-in simply because of the number of people they had signed up prior to their release. With Facebook, there's currently not discounts being offered. Really all you can do is check into places, you can tag people who you're with, and then see others that are at the location at the same time, which you see here. Now another example is Foursquare, and Foursquare is really one of the most popular outside of Facebook. So you can see, again, you pull up places nearby. With Chili's, they have a special going on. You can then click to see the special and check in. Once you view the special, it's going to offer you a discount. Here you get free chips and salsa, and it's got very clear instruction to the Chili's server. It says use coupon 23 to redeem. So again, they're not having to waste a lot of time to go to their manager. What do I do with this? They simply know, okay, look, it's coupon code number 23. One of the things about Foursquare that people like is the ability to become mayor of a certain location. So you do this by frequenting the place more than others, and once you do that, certain companies are offering you a discount on product or special discounts to the mayors. So there's a little bit of gameplay involved in some of these check-ins. You can earn badges and different titles and things like that, points with Shopkick, and as a result, you sometimes will receive extra special discounts. At a local diner called Le Peep, they're promoting the fact that you can play Foursquare, and if you become mayor, you get 10% off of every ticket, or every third check-in, you get a free coffee. So as of right now, there aren't necessarily any real best practices other than just partnering with somebody and getting creative and promoting the fact that you are using some of this stuff in your store so that people are aware of it. But it's definitely something to keep an eye out for, where it evolves and where it goes in the future. As I mentioned before, it's really that geo-based marketing that's going to take off. And if you are able to determine when a customer is in your store down to the centimeter and where they're located, that can be extremely valuable moving forward. The next thing we'll look at is Store Locator. Here, as you've probably seen, one of the most popular features and one of the things that people are doing more often than not with their mobile device is checking store location. They're out and about, maybe they were in the process of comparing prices. They noticed that your store had a better price than the one that they were currently at, but they don't know where you are. So they're going to want to look up directions. Maybe they're out visiting relatives and they need to go get something, and they want to find out where the nearest Target is. So here's an example of Neiman Marcus, and if you go to their mobile site, you have to scroll down pretty far before you find the Store Locator option. Again, this is one of the most popular features on mobile sites and mobile apps, so the fact that they've buried it so far down the page is not likely the best strategy. And these other examples with Office Depot, they've positioned it at the very top of their navigational options, and with Best Buy, it's at the very top of the screen in a very common location in the upper right-hand corner. Now, once you launch the store locator, with Rite Aid, they're giving you the ability to enter your city, state, or zip, similar to you would see on an e-commerce site. Once you do that, it's going to give you a list of stores. You can select a store for additional information or get directions to that store. They call Map It. Once you select Map It, it's really displaying a static image here. There's no interaction. You can zoom in and out, but unless you know where you are coming from, that may not help you, especially if you're not familiar with the area. Now, a good example of this is Walmart. Once you launch their store locator, you have the ability to find my location. So that's where you currently are. It will then ask you if you really want us to let you use your current location. You say yes, and then it's going to give you a list of stores near you at that exact moment. You can then get directions, and it launches the mapping app within the device, and it'll give you specific turn-by-turn directions from your location at that exact moment, regardless of where you are. So the best practices for store locator is to provide this option in a prominent location, similar to Office Depot and Best Buy. You also want to clearly identify the GPS option. Walmart labels it as Find My Location. Also, there's the very well-known symbol, the circular symbol that represents GPS that most people are familiar with that. So some clear labeling and that icon will help. You then want to actually utilize the GPS, unlike Rite Aid, similar to what Walmart did. And once you get directions, you want to launch that into the mapping application on the phone. As we talked about earlier, people may not necessarily be buying, but the one thing that they are doing with their mobile device while shopping is looking for product information. And depending on who you look to for your information, you're going to see, again, different rankings and different percentages, but you will begin to see some consistent information on what people are actually looking for when they're shopping. And those things are product descriptions, reviews, and price. So here's two examples with some varying percentages, but again, similar things. So how do you want to present this information, or how are people accessing it? Well, there are several different applications out there that allow you to do this. The one I'm showing here is Shop Savvy. You pull up a scanner, you can scan a barcode or a QR code, either one. It's then going to launch, it's going to scan that item and launch its application and find all the different locations where it's offered and the various prices. From there, you may go to their mobile site or their mobile app to do additional information or see about purchasing it, like you do here. Some companies get ahead of the game, like Best Buy and Target, and they've actually built in scanners into their mobile apps so that you can use their own in the store to get additional information. But then you want to make sure that you're presenting this information very clearly in an easily accessible way. So here's Amazon, Sears, and Nordstrom. And again, they're all showing the price. And with Amazon and Sears, they're also showing you that you're receiving some sort of discount at the moment. You want to make sure this information is presented on the product page as well as the results page, either the search results or your navigational results. The other thing you want to do is provide reviews for people. So here's a couple examples. Target and Overstock. Target does a good job because not only are they providing you with a rating, but they're also letting you know how many reviews. Overstock simply provides the rating, but no indication of how many people reviewed this, and it doesn't seem like there's a way to actually see the reviews based on what they've displayed. So you want to provide the rating as well as a number of reviews that have been submitted. Once you access those reviews, here's an example from Target and Best Buy, a very detailed description of what people have written, the actual rating, and then what they have to say about it. In addition, they've given you the ability to sort through these different reviews. Imagine there are a lot of reviews, and maybe you're the type of person that likes to see the lowest rated because that's really going to paint the picture for how this product works. You don't want to read the good reviews because you already know what people have to say good about it, and you want to read the bad. Or maybe you want to read the newest or what people found is the most helpful. So these are some common sorting tools that you can use on the review page. And then lastly, you want to offer up a product description and a good overview on the product detail page, but then the ability to access additional information. Here on Overstock, you access product description, and then you really get a more detailed description of the product. Maybe some information that you wouldn't necessarily be able to see by holding the package in the store, but just some additional information, maybe warranty information or something like that. So in going over best practices for product information, really the best practice is to provide the information people are looking for, such as pricing, the ability to post and read reviews, and a detailed product description. In summary, as we talked about up front, not a lot of people are directly converting using their mobile devices just yet. If you look to Japan for some trends where this has really taken off lately, people are using their devices to convert. If you look back this past year during the holidays, there was a very strong uptick in mobile conversion. There were people buying diamond rings. The amount of traffic that was coming through mobile was significantly higher, and it's going to continue, especially as more and more people own these smartphones. But there are also some other strategies you can implement to help drive conversion indirectly. The use of QR codes and print ads are in store to enhance that shopping experience. Text messaging campaign, marketing campaigns, store check-in feature. Again, no telling where this is really going to go or take off, but it's good to get in right now. The store locator feature should be a must if you do have a mobile site or mobile app, as well as product information on a site or app. And these are some good reasons that you actually want to have a mobile site or establish this mobile presence. And then a couple areas we weren't able to get to today but are also very important to consider. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, those types of things, as well as group discounts. Groupon is one of the most popular there. The return on investment there is extremely high, and there's several case studies out there that talk about that. That's all we have for today. We really appreciate you taking the time to sit with us today.